All right, everyone, welcome. If you're an exam aspirant, the Anusandhan National Research Foundation Act of 2023 is a huge new topic you absolutely need to know. So, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down for you, focusing on exactly what you need for your exams. So, here's how we'll tackle it. We'll kick things off with the big picture. Then we'll dive deep into the Act's main goals, its governance, and, of course, how it's funded. We'll also check out some key programs already up and running, and then we'll wrap it all up with a rapid-fire revision to make sure all those key facts are locked in. Okay, let's jump right into Section 1. We need to get our heads around why the ANRF was even created, and, super importantly, what it replaced. So the ANRF is now the top dog, the apex body for all things research and innovation in India. Now, jot this date down. It's a classic prelims question. The act was passed back in August 2023, but it officially came into force on February 5th, 2024. That makes it a very hot topic. So let's be super clear about this. The ANRF isn't just another agency cutting checks. It's designed to completely transform the research landscape. The two big keywords here are equitable funding, to help out universities that are still building up their research game, and creating synergy between the government, academics, and private industry. At a massive part of this whole thing, it completely repealed and absorbed the old Science and Engineering Research Board, or SERB.
All right, let's get to the real meat of the Act, its core mandate, which is all laid out in Section 4. Seriously, think of this section as a goldmine for potential exam questions, so let's break it down real carefully.
Okay, there's a lot on this slide. So how do you remember all this in an exam? Well, just think of the word roadmap. R is for creating the R&D roadmap. O is for outreach to grow research in our universities. A is for assistance through competitive grants. D is for developing India's role on the global stage. M is for moving ideas from the lab to the market. The second A is for addressing big societal challenges. And P is for pulling in that private sector investment. It's a pretty neat way to remember its core functions.
Okay, this next part is super important. The governance structure. And trust me, this is where a lot of people get tripped up, so pay close attention to who's heading these two bodies. It's a very likely question.
And this slide lays it out perfectly. You've got this beautiful separation of duties. The governing board, with the prime minister at the helm, is the big picture, strategic body. It sets the grand vision. Then you have the executive council, led by the principal scientific advisor. This is the implementation team. They handle the day-to-day work. They approve the grants. So just remember, vision versus execution. All right, now for the part everyone wants to know about, the money. Following the money trail is absolutely critical for understanding how this whole thing works, and it's a huge area from an exam perspective. And right away, you can see the big change here. We're moving to a much more diversified funding model. It's not just about government money anymore. The Act specifically opens the door for donations from private companies, charities, and even international organizations. That's a huge strategic shift from the old SERB system. So, Section 13.2 breaks the money down into four main buckets. You've got the main ANRF fund, which covers the day-to-day stuff. Then there's an innovation fund for those brilliant new ideas. A science and engineering fund is there to make sure older ongoing projects don't fall through the cracks. And finally, special purpose funds for really targeted national missions. A simple way to think of it is operations, innovation, continuity, and missions. Now, this next number is the one that really made headlines. 1 lakh crore rupees. This is the massive war chest for a brand new scheme called the Research, Development, and Innovation Scheme, or RDI. And its whole purpose is to attract private sector money into R&D. This right here is a potential game changer. And this chart, it really tells the story of the government's ambition for the ANRF over the next 5 years. Just look at this. The government is putting in 14,000 crores, but the target is to attract a whopping 36,000 crore rupees from the private sector. It really hammers home just how central that public-private partnership idea is. So, how does this actually work? It's not like the government is picking individual startups. Think of it as a two-step process. First, the government's Special Purpose Fund, or SPF, acts as a fund of funds. It gives capital to professional second-level fund managers, like AIFs or NBFCs. And then those experts are the ones who make the actual investment decisions at arm's length. It's a really smart structure. Okay, so we've talked about the structure, the money, but what is the ANRF actually doing right now? Let's look at 3 big initiatives that are already in motion. These are perfect examples to use in your answers. First up, the J.C. Bose Grant.
This is a very prestigious fellowship, and the whole point is to keep our top senior scientists right here in India. The numbers you need to remember here are 25 lakhs per year for 5 years. And get this, it's available until the researcher is 68, which is great for supporting them well past the usual retirement age.
Next, we have the PAIR program. And this one goes right back to that core idea we talked about, equitable funding. It uses what's called a hub and spoke model. Basically, you have established institutions, like the IITs, acting as hubs to mentor and build up the research abilities of smaller emerging universities, which are the spokes. It's the NEP 2020 vision in action.
And third, the MAHA initiative. This is all about laser-focused mission mode projects in really strategic areas. A perfect example is the MAHA EV mission for electric vehicles. What's really interesting here is the financial rule. Industry partners are required to put up at least 10% of the project cost. This ensures they have some real skin in the game. All right, time for a quick-fire revision. Pay close attention to these next 2 slides. They've got all the critical facts, figures, and concepts you'll want to have memorized for your exam.
Let's lock these in. Date it came into force, February 5, 2024. Who heads the top strategic body? The Prime Minister. Who heads the implementation body? The Principal Scientific Advisor. That RDI corpus, a massive one, 1 lakh crore. The JG Bose grant, 25 lakhs a year. And that industry contribution for MAHA missions, 10%. These are high-probability facts for your MCQs.
And for your longer descriptive answers, dropping these key terms is going to show the examiner you really get it. Talking about equitable funding, the hub and spoke model, or translational research will prove you have a deep, nuanced understanding of the ANRF's entire strategy. So we'll leave you with a thought, something to chew on for your mains prep. The ANRF has to walk a tightrope. On one hand, it has to democratize research and lift up smaller institutions. But on the other hand, it needs to make big, bold bets on high-risk, high-reward projects in strategic areas. How it navigates that fundamental tension will really define its success. Good luck with your preparation.